Hello, 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 and welcome to another edition of Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. Right now, we're doing the Who Does the Better Backlog Challenge. What does it mean? Who does a better backlog challenge? Let's give you some context here. Let me just pop up my whole screen. We can start from there. Let's just bring this one out here and make sure everybody can see where we's at, and also make sure the audio works. So I'm just gonna put myself down here. Good, I can hear myself. Now I don't need this one at such a high quality. Let's bring this down to here. There we go. I think that should be good right there. I just want to make sure I can see myself, and I want to make sure I can see the screen. There we go. Right. So if you've been my channel, you know that basically what we're doing here is we're working on a little project, and currently our project is live on Cloudflare. Um, Actually, I haven't even checked it. Stop running in circles of proof and stuff. I don't know. Is this the new? This is what they did? Okay. I had no idea what it looks like. Proven step-by-step framework that turns your team's vague ideas into clear, actionable plans. See your business with total clarity using the 7 chess pieces framework. Master the huddle and play rhythm to run focused, productive meetings. Learn deliberate practice to rapidly, effectively improve your team skills. Use the cube method to turn overwhelming goals into simple, actionable plans based on over 4,000 hours of consultation with 300 plus managers and the of seminal work of Dr. Thomas Bockwolz. That is true. 100% free, 7 value-packed emails over 14 days, unsubscribe anytime. There you go. Now, this isn't much of a sales page. It's really straightforward. So we got our sales page up to some extent. We got our blog up to some extent. We got our app up. We got our homepage up to some extent. Everything's basically working to some extent. All right. So what are we doing right now? Basically, well, we need to write the first blog article. So when you go into Vortex, it's here. We're here. I've been working on this blog article a little bit for the last little while. It says finalize your first pillar blog post. And then once we've finished that blog post, then that means we'll be able to put some finishing touches here on our blog page. And of course, working with our blog page, we're going to be using this decap CMS admin page. Um, so that's kind of en route. Now, all right. So the thing is with our free course, so this is what it used to look like. So I'm guessing if I just do that, yeah, it's updated. It updates it. I kind of wanted one of those long flowing sales pages, but let's save that for another day. Okay, so we got the blog. Writing the blog here. Now over here with Webmaster, it says, look, we gotta connect it to ConvertKit. Excellent Cascades technical guidance is spot on, aligns perfectly with our plans. Modifying the existing serverless function is the most effective and reliable way to integrate with the email service. Thank you for offering to my hands. To activate the email funnel, we will follow a clear three-part process: account setup, code integration, file configuration. Let's begin. Your immediate task is ConvertKit setup. Your first step is to create the ConvertKit account and get the 2 critical pieces of information. I'll need to write the integration code, create the ConvertKit account. Okay, so what does a ConvertKit account look like? So this is ConvertKit. Kit, formerly ConvertKit, is an email first operating system. That's funny, actually. So, because the thing is that, like, there's that one YouTube channel, the lady that works at ConvertKit. She's the designer. She's like head of design. So basically, this is what she's saying. This is her opinion about like how websites should be designed. You see, and this page, this is a sales page, exactly. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about a sales page. It's like it's the kind of sales page that just goes on and on and on and on. And as you're reading, it's like there's so many different request migration, start free trial, So you see how many times you can, there's like a button everywhere. So, hmm, anyways, okay, but you didn't come here for any of this. What you came here for is the backlog challenge. So let's jump into this guy here. This is the architect. And the thing is with the architect, in fact, what happened was I said to architect, I'm going to use the 3 models inside of Cascade to find out what items are on the backlog, while Webmaster sets up ConvertKit account and gets the API keys, and Vortex writes the blog posts. I want you to review the output by Cascade based on some prompts using different models and then propose a plan moving forward. If you'd like more information or need Cascade to do more work before you can make a final decision and plan, give me prompts and tell me which model to use for each prompt. Otherwise, provide feedback about what we can do while we wait for Webmaster, and tell me who is best equipped. Is that how you spell equipped? Equipped to do the work, and also whether or not we should update the calibration docs or create a new Cascade instance context window inside of Windsurf. So what happened was I turned to Claude 4. Thank you for sharing the excellent feedback for both Webmaster and Architect. It's gratifying to see the lead magnet feature has been met and exceeds expectation. The current state, the feature complete. Well, what happened, probably another bit of context, if you've been following my story, is that I finished all the emails. So here's all, I don't know why it has this button, catch me up. I have all the 7 emails for the lead magnet series. And then on top of that, we wrote some, a hook and I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe I should just go to where do we have to go back? Okay, optional. Okay, Claude 4. Ready for Claude 4 handoff. You're switching to Claude 4 for copywriting. Excellent choice. Here's what Claude 4 should focus on. Here, headline, a subheading, a subhead value proposition, benefit bullets, primary CTA text, social proof, title description, OG title description, optional alt headline, privacy terms, links if needed. I don't even know. So it just like it asks for all this stuff, but when we jump onto the website, it doesn't have any of that. So I don't know why it asked for all that information if it wasn't going to use it. So here's the complete work of our marketing team named Vortex. Feel free to make changes. Here's email 1 of 7. Here's email 2 of 7. Here's email 3 of 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. And after that, we got like the hooks and all that kind of stuff that it asked for. So then after that, what did it do? So I have complete marketing copy for the team Vortex. This is excellent content, very well crafted and conversation focused. Let me integrate this into a lead magnet page immediately. I need to write the updated SEO metadata. I need to add proper SEO metadata for the magnet page. So it supposedly made a bunch of stuff. Replace the update the CTA button to start the free course. Align success page with Endeavor Circle branding. Enumerate objects 25. Lead magnet integration complete. Changes made. Stop running in circles. Stop running in circles. A proven step-by-step framework to turn your group's vague ideas into clear, actionable plans. The 4 benefits: social proof, CTA, micro copy, SEO metadata, meta description to optimize for search, open graph, and Twitter card tags. Technical elements: edit the React helmet, deploy changes in live Cloudflare pages. Next step. Okay, so here's some next steps, right? So this is what the webmaster said. The webmaster says, okay, here you go. So your lead magnet system is good. And then also architect said your lead magnet system is good. So everybody's in agreement. Everyone's happy with everything. Look, there's complete, complete, complete. Everything's complete. Everything is complete or exceeded expectations. Everything's fine. Everything's done. Now, man, like, yeah, it's clear that I'm not exactly 100% happy with everything that I'm seeing here. But then at the same time, it's better done. Like, we need to launch it and then we can improve it over time. So it's like this isn't the end of the world that it's not perfect. It definitely has all the minimum information. That's why it's called a minimal viable product. So what happened was I was kind of like, well, like, yeah, I need to spend some time writing the blog. True. That's with Vortex. I need to set up the ConvertKit page. That's true. I'm doing that with Webmaster. Um, Signal is on hold because, okay, so here, Signal says that Architect and Cascade are on hold. Vortex needs to start writing the blog. So he's a little bit out to lunch. And I was like, hey, I wonder if there's a backlog that we need to worry about inside of Windsurf. Because I started reading this stuff. It's like feature complete, and then what supporting email funnel activation. Since the webmaster is now proceeding with the convert integration, I can provide technical guidance for the API integration points. Okay. I should have, I don't know, did I paste? I must have pasted this into. Thank you for sharing the excellent feedback from Webmaster. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so I did paste that to Webmaster, and then Webmaster said, "All right, let's set up ConvertKit." So there we are. So this is where we are. We're like, this is the real time situation. So I said, is there other work in the backlog that you can work on while we wait for Webmaster to set up the ConvertKit account and get those details for you? Create a plan and decide what aspects of work should be done with Claude 4 and what should be done with GPT-5. Remember, we also have access to Gemini 2.5 Pro and can switch between models here inside Cascade in Windsurf, and it's your job to pick up the right model for the job. For example, which model do you recommend using, and what would the prompt look like to create a backlog plan? Now, I don't know which model this was at the time, but I did record it. So here it is. So Claude 4, thank you for sharing the excellent feedback. Okay, so I started the first comment, the one we just read, and then this is what Claude 4 said based on my analysis. Okay, so this is Claude 4. Based on my analysis of the project backlog, I've identified several high-value work items. Now, it goes through a couple of different ideas. Now, the thing is, I don't want to read all this because we're just trying to come up with some kind of backlog. But I noticed that it did say fix the hamburger menu. So, okay, so it means that, look, so it went into the PRD, like an older draft of the PRD. It went through an older draft of the sprint plan. So it means that there's some issues here because it went way back into documentation and trying to figure out what the next idea is. So I said, okay, I'm switching to Gemini 2.5 Pro here. And I'm wondering if it's time to open up a new chat window. This issue is that when I consider what Claude 4 found in the PRD and Sprint Docs, I see that we haven't updated our calibration documents for a while, and Claude didn't go through the above chat or any of the chats to determine the work that needs to be done and the work which is already finished. For example, the application is already pushed to GitHub and is running inside of Cloudflare. The hamburger menu is working and many of the issues pointed out above have already been done. I'm satisfied with the work that Claude produced regarding creating a backlog of things that needed to be done. I'm wondering if the issue is that I'm satisfied. It should say I'm unsatisfied. Yeah, and it can't read above chat or the walls generally, blah, 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 blah. Inside of the Windsurf IDE. Otherwise, I wonder if the token context window has been used up and the system is bugging out. What are your thoughts? So I posted that comment as well to Architect. See here, I'm switching to Gemini 2.5 Pro here. I'm wondering if it's time to open up a new chat window. So the project manager said this. That's me. So at that time, I clicked this and I changed to ChatGPT 5. Okay, and then it gave some kind of, okay, so you've raised several critical points. Your assessment is correct. The previous plan was not grounded in this project's recent state, and I apologize for that. Let's break down the why and then create an accurate path forward. So then it says, you're right, the question about the previous output. Okay, so there's over reliance on stale documentation, content synthesis failure, lack of proactive verification, a grounded plan for what's next. So verify recent work, impact critical components, identify true next steps, and then it starts working. Once then I was like, okay, so what do we do next? So it looks like Pro 2.5 Pro, it did quite a bit of work trying to figure out what's next. Then I said, okay, so I have been using GPT-5 for most of the work in this chat. I have now switched to GPT-5. What? I have been using GPT-5. I have now switched to GPT-5 and I want you to review the above. Okay, so this is Gemini Pro up here. Gemini Pro 2.5. So now we're switching back to Gemini, we're switching back to GPT-5. Is this the last post? I think this is the last post. So I pasted everything up until this last post. It was working and I wasn't here at the time. So I'm just going to copy this. So what's going to happen is we're going to find out what Architect thinks. So Architect has a really good understanding of everything that we've worked on for the past week. And now it's going to go through all of these different chats. It's going to tell us like who did the best job for figuring out what the backlog should be. And maybe it'll give us some recommendations about how to move forward. So I'm curious about what's going to happen here because this is happening live. Let me just make sure that our sound is working. And huh, is it working? Should be working. Hello, hello. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, let's check the chat. So it says this has been an incredibly insightful multimodal collaboration. After reviewing the entire process, GPT-5 final analysis and execution plan is our definite path forward. It successfully identified and provided solutions for several critical bugs in the initial implementation. Analysis of AI collaboration. This exercise provided a clear picture of the unique strengths of each model in this specific workflow. Cloudflare acted as a good initial strategist, capable of parsing documentation to suggest a direction. However, its key weakness was a failure to verify its assumptions against the live code base, leading to a plan based on stale information. Gemini 2.5 demonstrated a superior process by insisting on verification first. It acted as the diligent developer, inspecting the code to create an accurate backlog and then executing the heavy lifting of the initial, though imperfect, implementation. GPT-5 performed the role of senior architect and expert reviewer. It conducted a deep and nuanced code review, identifying subtle but critical flaws like the static import crash and incorrect env loading that would have caused major issues in production. Its final output is a robust production-ready execution plan. Final recommendation and plan. I am formally approving the final recommendation and execution plan provided by GPT-5. This is now our official roadmap for completing the post-GUI SQL migration. Directive for the architect. As requested, here's the directive for the architect. Please provide this full context to them. Begin with directive for Architect 8. Architect, please review the full development log, which details attempts by Claude 4, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and GPT-5 to create a project backlog and implement the PostgreSQL migration. Your primary focus should be on the final expert review and execution plan delivered by GPT-5. This plan has been approved and is now our official roadmap. Your immediate task is to begin phase 1, hardening the plan using GPT-5 model inside of Cascade. Please proceed to the following critical fixes: storage import fix, server, this, that, Okay, so looks like the winner is GPT-5. GPT-5. I've been using GPT-5 for a while now. I did most of the work with GPT-5. I moved back to GPT-4, Claude 4 a couple of times, but I even felt like Claude 4. I eventually quit using Gemini 2.5 Pro for coding. I felt like it wasn't doing what I needed it to do. I wasn't getting the success that I wanted. And then I moved to Claude 4. Claude 4, it did a huge amount of work. It did a really great job. But then as I started to migrate the whole website over into Cloudflare, and I tried to set up that new page, like that new way to post blogs, I had some problems. It took a really long time to solve, and I ended up connecting the API keys and everything. I connected the Supabase API keys. I connected the Cloudflare API keys. I connected the GitHub API keys to Windsurf, so Windsurf can do whatever they want, I guess, with my project because they have all the API keys, and also Gemini has all my API keys as well. They keep telling me that they're not remembering the keys, and then they have something inside of them that actually deletes the keys. So uh, I don't know what that's about. In fact, when I finally did solve the problem with this setting up this blog page, it was actually there was a combination of two things that happened. So one of the things that happened was that I had opened up the inspect page, and I had taken some screenshots of what was going on here in the console. I hadn't provided those screenshots to any of the earlier instance of GPT-5. So maybe it's possible that GPT-5 could have solved the problem if it had. I mean, it's the one that asked me for that, but then I just after after a day or 2 days of troubleshooting and not getting the right answer, finally I got frustrated and I was like, fine, I'm gonna go back to Claude 4. And Claude 4 immediately solved the problem, but also it also had data that I didn't provide for GPT-5. Other than that, I felt like GPT-5 was superior in every way. It just the whole time, I just felt like everything that it did was always better. And we did have a couple of times when I kind of like asked Windsurf to like tell us what GPT-5 can do better and what Claude 4 can do better. It basically said that Claude 4 is like more creative and it can help us to write those marketing slogans and stuff. Whether that's true is who knows. But GPT-5, it recommended itself for pretty much everything else. It said, "No, I'll do it." And then even when I switched to GPT, I switched to Claude 4 and I asked Claude 4 the same thing. I said, "What are you good at compared to what GPT-5 is good at?" And it kind of almost said the same thing. It would kind of said like, "Well, when you're integrating the system, when you're designing the system, when you're upgrading the system, when you're doing all this system stuff, you should stick with GPT-5 and then I can like do this other marketing stuff." It was like kind of weird. So I would say currently GPT-5 is definitely the best model inside of Windsurf for over 90% of the tasks, maybe more than 90% of the tasks. But I mean, you can't go wrong with GPT-5. Maybe at some point you might run into a problem that you just can't solve even after multiple days. When that is the case, then sometimes it's good just to jump into another model and then just have a different frame of work, a frame of reference for solving the problem. But I would say that I'm currently a GPT-5 user. Also, the concept of GPT-5 is starting to get me to rethink my Gemini account. Because the question is, to what extent is Gemini helping me or hurting me? Now, I would say in general, it's helping me, but the problem is I keep running into an issue with like I'm using up all of my tokens. So now they have a much more strict policy about how many pro level requests I make. And ChatGPT has an elegant solution for this problem. ChatGPT, what it does is whenever you have like an issue, then it is going to determine which model is best. And I think for most inquiries, it's just going to choose like a simpler model. And then for like really intense inquiries that takes more computing and thinking, it'll activate a different model which will use more tokens. Now, why is this important? It's because the issue is about calibration documents. So in this case, the one we're looking at right now is called Architect 8. Architect 8 is a pro level, which means that it's going to be using pro level tokens. So here it is. So here's Architect 8. It's using pro level tokens. And it means that at some point, if I work throughout the day and I'm also using four windows, so I'm using Vortex, I'm using, well, this one is called transcript, but we don't need transcript open anymore because we're finished with the transcript for now. Because we were setting up this the emails for this online course. All right, so we got Vortex, we got Architect 8, we got Webmaster, and then we got Signal. So I'm using it in all four different windows. They're all pro, and in the last 3 days, I've hit my limit every day. Now it's fine if you hit the limit and it's like 8 o'clock at night, and then it's gonna see for mine. It resets at like 10:17 at night. As you can see, it's currently almost 6 o'clock. So it's fine. It's fine if I run out, it's like 8 o'clock or it's 9 o'clock, and then I can just take a break and then I can come back at 10 o'clock. I can run a couple of more prompts at night, and then in the morning we can get back to work. But the issue is that, yeah, it's true that not all, I don't necessarily need to be using the pro version for Signal. I don't necessarily need to be using the pro version for Webmaster. I need to be using the pro version for Architect and Vortex. And I can't switch. So if you, for example, if I click, watch, if I click this button, it'll open up a new window. So it means that in fact you can't switch between models, which is a problem because so we're trying to solve two different problems. There's actually three big problems right now in computer coding that I need a solution for. The first is the context window. So I have to use Gemini because Gemini has the 1 million token context window. It means that it stays on target much, much longer, like 10 times longer. So you can use ChatGPT for 2 days. Then after 2 days, it starts going crazy. It's off, it starts like, does it can't remember the beginning of the conversation. It's only lasts 2 days. And it takes quite a bit of time to create the calibration documents and to reset the calibration documents. I don't want to do that every 2 days. It'll literally take like 3 hours every 2 days. It basically takes me between 1 and 3 hours to update the calibration docs. But with Gemini, then I can work for like 20 days. I can work for between 2 weeks and 3 weeks before I have to update the calibration docs. So I have to use Gemini. There's just no choice about it. All right. So then the second one is, okay, so if you're using Gemini 2.5, then, well, when is Gemini going to use this new strategy that ChatGPT is using where it can switch between models? Because that would be helpful, because then I wouldn't be running into my token limits at like 8 o'clock at night or even earlier. And so that would be really helpful. And the third one is because I have three different context windows open, and I also have like Windsurf open. So my question is like, is there some way for these different chatbots to communicate with each other? For example, if we have a common window, if we have some kind of common window, for example, like let's say that there's an output from Windsurf. Now, it would be nice if the output for Windsurf from Cascade could be like accessed by these other chatbots. So they can read it and then decide what they want to do with it. So it would be nice if they can have exposure to those ideas. Or if all of the different text boxes could be entered into like a chat wall, one common chat wall. So I can open up like in WhatsApp how you might have a chat wall with one friend. Let's say I have a friend like a chat wall with my mom, and then I have another chat wall with my dad. We talk about different things. and then we have a third chat wall for like called parents. And then, so if I want to talk to both my parents, then I would just send a message to the parent chat wall. And then if I want to send a message only to my mom, then I send it to the mom chat wall. So is it possible that I could so I could talk to architect and just have like a conversation with architect, but then at the same time, architect has access to the common chat wall, so it knows what's happening. Like imagine Signal was the common chat wall, and then because right now I'm doing it manually, how I use Signal as my common chat wall. So I'm taking messages from Vortex, Architect, and Webmaster, and I'm posting it into Signal because it's Signal's job to keep track of what's happening. And sometimes I even post messages from Cascade into Signal. That way, Signal can understand basically what's happening in the project and what's next. So it stops me from having to use my own memory to remember what's supposed to be next and what's blocking us and how to manage our time and things like that. So those are the three issues: is how to extend the context window, how do I switch between models so that I can have more tokens, and then how can I communicate between how can the walls, the different chat bots communicate with each other. So that's it. Yeah. So what is the work I need to do now? Like I said, with Vortex, we need to finish writing the blog post. And then after we finish writing the blog post, then we will be able to upload it to this window here. And then after we've uploaded it to this window here, then we can start to, let's put this actually on the blog page. Then we can start to redesign these pages and make sure this looks nicer. Yeah, and then of course the other one is we're continuing to set up the convert kit uh, s- uh, connection so that when people put their email addresses in here to get the free course, then that stuff will all work. So it's good. Last thing I wanted to do was just to check. As you can see, so far I think we got 4 days left. Yeah, we still got tons of credits. So we still got 200 credits to use in the next 4 days. So that's 50 credits a day. We still got 50 credits a day. So let's keep on pushing and get as much work done as possible. And all right, so there you go. So what do we got? Notes, the dynamic reporting issue. The original crash was due to this, throwing this, doing this. Next steps is this, and then do this, and then index this, and then cd this, and test this, and then up to date. We got completing. Then we got this, then we got that, and then we got this, and we got that. I don't know. No idea what's going on with that. So I'm going to give that to Cascade to worry about. I'm going to give it to Architect to worry about. Yeah, so it's same. It's just work as usual. So we got the Vortex. I need to finish the blog article. Architect is working with Cascade to harden the system, and then Webmaster is working with ConvertKit, and then Signal is kind of on hold because we everybody knows what we're doing here. Under your direction as architect, you have successfully completed. It thinks it's the architect right now. I don't think it really cares what it thinks its name is. All right, so the answer is we're going to continue using ChatGPT 5, which is interesting because ChatGPT 5 is only 1 credit, and then the Cloud Sonnet 4 is 2 credits. So even though it's cheaper, and like as you can see, like I literally have 50 credits per day left. I have plenty of credits. I could be spending credits, and then I have another additional 130 credits. Of course, I want to see if these credits will carry over into September because I purchased them in July. They already carried over into August. I want to see if they will carry over again into September. So my main focus is to use up the last 200 credits. I don't know if it's possible. we'll just keep pushing and see what's possible. But like, obviously, I could use up those credits a lot faster if I use the Claude model because I'm using 2 credits every time with the Claude model. But I'm just not willing to because based on all of my research and like this is a real project which has been ongoing for several months, and it's not ChatGPT that told me that GPT-5 is better. It's Gemini Pro. It looked at all of the different things that like the research that each of those models did, and it picked the one that it thought was the best. So it picked GPT-5. That's your answer. All right. So thank you for joining me today. I'm going to keep working on this, and we'll see you when we got more work done. So, oh boy.